It's Monday morning. Your alarm goes off at 6:15 a.m. You grab your phone and immediately see 3 notifications. Your rent payment processed. Your credit card payment posted. Your grocery bill from yesterday. You walk into the kitchen, pour coffee, and tell yourself something that millions of Americans tell themselves every single day. At least I'm safe. I have my emergency fund. Maybe you've got $5,000. Maybe $10,000. Maybe 6 months of expenses. Maybe more. You feel responsible, prepared, financially mature. And honestly, that's exactly what personal finance experts, social media influencers, banks, and even your coworkers have probably told you. Build an emergency fund. Protect yourself. Cash is king. Always keep money liquid. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody asks. What if your emergency fund isn't protecting you anymore? What if the thing that makes you feel financially safe is quietly slowing down your wealth? What if your emergency fund has become a financial comfort blanket that costs you tens, or even hundreds, of thousands of dollars over your lifetime? Because there's a huge difference between having protection and overpaying for protection. And millions of Americans are doing exactly that. Today, we're talking about one of the most misunderstood money topics in America. Not because emergency funds are bad. They're necessary. But because most people build them wrong, use them wrong, store them wrong, and accidentally create what I call the safety trap. And this trap quietly keeps people stuck. Why Americans love cash so much. Americans have a complicated relationship with money. We love spending. We hate uncertainty. And nothing feels safer than seeing cash sitting in an account. Because cash feels real. Stocks feel risky. Investing feels uncertain. Housing markets move. Retirement accounts fluctuate. But cash looks stable. Your account says $15,000. Tomorrow, still $15,000. Next month, still $15,000. Your brain loves this. Because humans are wired for certainty. But there's a problem. Your bank balance may stay the same. Your purchasing power does not. And this is where people accidentally become poorer while feeling safer. The invisible tax most people ignore. Let's say you keep $25,000 in a savings account. Seems responsible, right? Now imagine inflation averages around 3%. That means your money effectively buys less every year. Your balance still says $25,000. But what that money can purchase keeps shrinking. Your groceries cost more. Insurance premiums rise. Healthcare costs increase. Housing costs rise. Utilities rise. Travel gets more expensive. Life keeps moving. Your money sits still. That's the hidden tax. And unlike income taxes, you don't get a bill. You simply lose purchasing power quietly. That's why people often feel confused. They save more, yet somehow feel poorer. Because cash preservation and wealth building are not the same thing. The real purpose of an emergency fund. Most people misunderstand what an emergency fund is supposed to do. Its purpose is not maximize returns, create wealth, outperform markets, generate income. Its job is simple. By time when life goes wrong, that's it. An emergency fund exists to create breathing room, job loss, medical bills, car repairs, family emergencies, major home repairs, unexpected travel, temporary income disruption. It is insurance. And insurance has a cost. The mistake? People turn insurance into an investment strategy. That's where problems begin. How people accidentally overfund their safety. Imagine 2 people. Person A keeps $8,000 for emergencies. Invests excess cash. Builds assets. Person B keeps $60,000 sitting in cash because it feels safer. Who is actually safer? Most people automatically choose person B. But think deeper. Person A has growing investments, appreciating assets, more income-producing capital, greater long-term flexibility. Person B has stagnant money, inflation exposure, opportunity cost, lower growth potential. Safety is not just cash. Safety is options. And wealth creates options. The biggest emergency fund mistake: using generic rules. You've heard it before. Save 3 to 6 months of expenses. Sometimes people say, save 12 months. Others say, Save 2 years. But generic rules create generic mistakes. Your emergency fund size should depend on your risk. Ask yourself. 1. How stable is your job? Federal employee? Very stable. Commission sales? Less stable. Freelancer? Higher uncertainty. Startup employee? Higher risk. 2. How many income streams do you have? 1 paycheck? Higher risk. Multiple income sources? Lower risk. 3. How quickly could you replace income? Specialized surgeon? Maybe easier. Niche worker in shrinking industry? Harder. 4. Who depends on you? Single? Lower obligation. Kids? Mortgage? Family support? Higher responsibility. Emergency funds should be personalized, not copied. Why too much cash can keep you broke? This sounds backward, but too much cash can create financial laziness. Because when large piles of money sit around, you delay investing. You postpone learning. You avoid calculated risk. You stop optimizing. You think, I'll invest later. Later becomes years. Years become decades. And the cost becomes enormous. Here's the painful math. Someone who invests earlier often beats someone who invests more later. Time matters more than intensity. Every year your money sits inactive is a year compounding isn't working. And compounding is the closest thing personal finance has to magic. The psychology of safe money. Financial decisions are emotional decisions. People rarely admit this. But money behavior is psychology wearing a spreadsheet costume. Emergency funds create emotional comfort. That comfort can become addictive. You open your account, see a big number, feel secure. Your brain rewards you. So you keep adding, and adding, and adding, without asking, what problem am I solving now? Because at some point, you stop building security, and start hoarding certainty. Those are different things. What actual financial security looks like. Real financial security usually comes from layers. Not one giant pile of cash. Layer 1. Emergency cash. Layer 2. Stable income. Layer 3. Investments. Layer 4. Insurance protection. Layer 5. Skills and employability. Layer 6. Low debt. Layer 7. Flexibility. Many Americans focus only on Layer 1 and ignore the rest. That creates fragile finances disguised as safe finances. The question that changes everything. Ask yourself, if I lost my income tomorrow, what would actually save me? Would it only be cash? Or would it also be relationships, skills, side income, investments, lower expenses, flexibility, insurance coverage, employability? Cash matters. But cash alone is rarely enough. The smarter way to build safety without sacrificing wealth. So now you might be thinking, okay, if keeping too much cash is hurting me, what's the alternative? Because nobody wants to hear. Your strategy is wrong. Without hearing, here's what works better. And that's fair. Because the goal isn't to destroy your safety net. The goal is to build one that actually works. Because financially successful Americans rarely rely on one bucket of money. They build systems. And systems survive emergencies much better than piles of cash. Stop thinking of your money as one big account. Here's one of the biggest mindset shifts that changed how many financially secure people manage money. Your dollars should have jobs. Most Americans accidentally create one giant checking or savings account where everything mixes together. Rent money, vacation money, emergency savings, holiday shopping, car repairs, insurance deductibles, future investing. That creates confusion. And confused money gets spent. Instead, divide money by purpose. Not by emotion. Create separate buckets. Bucket 1, immediate spending. This handles bills, groceries, gas, subscriptions, short-term expenses. Bucket 2, short-term protection. This covers unexpected but common events. Car repairs, vet bills, medical deductibles, home maintenance, travel emergencies. Bucket 3, true emergency money. Job loss, major income disruption, unexpected crises. Bucket 4, wealth building, retirement, investments, brokerage accounts, long-term assets. Now suddenly money has direction. And direction creates efficiency. The tiered emergency system most people never build. Most people create one emergency fund. That's usually inefficient. Instead, think in layers. Tier 1, fast cash. Keep enough money for immediate emergencies. Usually enough to cover quick expenses without stress. This money prioritizes accessibility, not returns. Think unexpected repair, urgent travel, medical copay, appliance replacement. Tier 2, extended protection. This layer protects against larger disruptions, job loss, income gaps, temporary hardship. This money still stays relatively accessible, but doesn't need to sit in your everyday checking account. Tier 3, opportunity reserve. This is where people make mistakes. Because crises aren't the only thing that happen. Opportunities happen too. Housing downturns, market crashes, business opportunities, career changes, relocations. Most Americans prepare for disasters. Few prepare for opportunities. Wealthy people often prepare for both. Why your job should change your savings strategy. Two people earning $90,000 per year can need completely different emergency funds. Imagine this. Person 1 works for government. Strong benefits, stable income, predictable raises. Person 2 works commission sales. Income fluctuates monthly. Economic downturns hit hard. Should they hold the same amount? Probably not. Risk determines cash needs, not salary. This is where people get trapped. High earners often assume, I make good money so I'm safe. But income size and income stability are different things. Large income with instability can require larger buffers. Smaller stable income may require less. Your expenses matter more than your income. People love asking, how much should I save? Wrong question. Ask, how expensive is my lifestyle to maintain? A person earning $180,000 while spending $170,000 yearly is fragile. A person earning $70,000 while spending $45,000 may be safer. Why? Because lower fixed expenses create flexibility. And flexibility reduces emergencies. Look closely at your fixed costs. Housing, car payments, subscriptions, insurance, debt payments, lifestyle inflation. Every recurring expense quietly increases the size of emergency fund you need. Reducing expenses can sometimes create more security than increasing savings. The hidden enemy, cash drag. Few people talk about cash drag. Cash drag happens when excessive idle money slows wealth creation. Imagine someone keeps $50,000 sitting idle. Meanwhile, retirement contributions stay low. Brokerage investing gets delayed. Debt remains unpaid. Compound growth never starts. That cash creates friction. Over decades, friction becomes expensive. Many Americans obsess over investment returns while ignoring the larger issue. Money that never entered the game cannot grow. Why debt changes everything. Your emergency strategy changes dramatically depending on debt. Because debt creates emergencies by itself. High-interest debt acts like a reverse investment. You work, earn money, interest removes it. Repeat. Someone carrying credit card balances, high-interest personal loans, certain private loans, often needs a different approach. Because every dollar trapped in expensive debt may be creating more financial pressure than insufficient savings. That doesn't mean eliminate emergency savings entirely. It means balance matters. Because financial plans should reduce stress, not increase it. The big question, what counts as an emergency? Americans misuse emergency funds constantly. Examples people call emergencies: holiday shopping, concert tickets, birthday gifts, routine maintenance, annual subscriptions, back-to-school shopping. Those aren't emergencies. Those are predictable. An emergency usually has 3 characteristics: unexpected, necessary, time-sensitive. If all 3 aren't present, you may be dealing with poor planning, not an emergency. This distinction matters. Because when everything becomes an emergency, nothing is. Why financial flexibility beats perfect planning. Many people chase the perfect number, perfect account, perfect percentage, perfect formula. Personal finance rarely works that way. Life changes. Inflation changes. Jobs change. Families change. The stronger strategy is flexibility. Can you lower expenses quickly? Can you create temporary income? Can you pause unnecessary spending? Can you relocate if necessary? Can you negotiate bills? Can you adapt? Adaptability often protects finances more than exact calculations. Build a money system that requires less willpower. Most financial plans fail for one reason: too much manual effort. Automation fixes this. Automate emergency transfers, investment contributions, bill payments, retirement savings, debt payments. Because discipline eventually gets tired. Systems don't. When your financial system works automatically, your emotions stop controlling your money. And that's where real progress starts. The truth most people learn too late. The goal was never save as much cash as possible. The goal was always build enough protection so your money can keep working while you sleep. Because financial security isn't created when money stops moving. Financial security is created when your system keeps functioning, even when life stops cooperating. And that changes everything.